Let's get ready to rumble!
He's taken another one, and Howard Foster has stopped it!
This is Thomas Lyons from Raps on TV. Unfortunate to be joined on the phone tonight by none other than Linus Udofia. How you getting on, Linus?
Yeah, very well, mate. How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. It's been a while since I last spoke to you. I think you've had 2 fights in the meantime since I last spoke, and I mean your last performance was an excellent display. I mean, of a lot of things, really, a lot of new things that we possibly haven't seen of you before. You know, good boxing skills, a compact and mature performance. Just assess your performance on the Joe Joyce Bill Linus for me.
That fight was it was one of those where, I'm not sure how people saw it and how people received it, but, say what you want. In my opinion, it was quite a change fight for me. It kind of showed what level I was going to be on, kind of thing. It went just oh yeah, get this fight and do this and do that. It was going to show what level I was. I felt like that fight and that fight did that. I felt like the opponent wasn't easy. He hadn't had a lot of fights, but he wasn't an easy opponent. Tricky style. He had a tricky come forward, quite an aggressive style. I wouldn't say he was quite aggressive, and which it doesn't bother me, but it didn't. It put me under a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, I've kind of just, we've got to be good, we've got to listen to the coach. No matter what you want to do, I've got to listen to my I wasn't a lot of things I want to do, but I thought, listen to my coach, because they know best, and, I'll be fine, I just need to keep doing what I'm doing, I'll be fine. That's what they kept saying to me. They just go, keep doing what you're doing, just keep boxing, you're going to be fine, keep moving, keep boxing, you're going to be fine. And in the end, the game plan was to just kind of still keep chopping away, keep stabbing to his body really, and just keep stabbing to his body, keep doing what you're doing meticulously, and sooner or later he's going to break down, because he's quite a big guy, and he's quite aggressive, and he's going to use that against him, break him down and then get rid of him.
Yeah, well,
it worked off to a T. I was just really happy that I can listen to heart in that first. It was quite not a tough start to the round. It was quite a slow start for me. I was definitely losing the early round, and I wouldn't say I wasn't controlling the early rounds. Let's put it that way. I wasn't in control in the early rounds, and then as the fight went on, the tide turned, and it kind of worked into my favour.
Yeah, I mean, you summed it up perfectly, really. Well, I was watching it on Sport Bible. I'm sure you're happy about getting the exposure on Facebook as well. But, I mean, like you said there, meticulously sort of put together, obviously, with the advice in your corner to get behind the jab and really stamp your authority on the contest, Linus. I mean, against someone like Eric Nwankwo, I hope I pronounced his name properly, but he's only had 2 fights and he's relatively inexperienced to when he faced you. And, I mean, you've had that experience, before, and being able to sort of exercise that in the fight kind of showed your dominance.
Yeah, to say, his record doesn't really do him justice. I feel like he's a lot better than someone who's had just, 2 or 3 fights.
Yeah.
I feel like he was a lot better than that. But, again, it is what it is. He may be a lot better than that, but he may not have experienced going a lot of rounds, which I don't think he has. And, he may not have experienced, someone that has. I think he brought a lot to the table. But in the end, he's there to test me. He's there to kind of show me what level I can be. And, he did that. So... I think it was a very good test for me, to be fair.
Yeah, 100%. A great sort of fight for you at this stage of your career, to be able to get rounds in the bank and to, kind of dictate what you wanted to do on the fight, and to be able to negate what his strengths were, even though he only had, like I said there, 2 fights. But away from that, obviously being back in June, it's been a few months now, Linus. I mean, how's the summer gone in general? Have you've had time to sort of reassess your options for the new season, and I mean, you've got a date coming up on the 15th of September. What's the plan for the rest of the year?
Well, with you know, just, there are things popping up every day. There are things popping up every day. I would like. I think there's a Southern area shot in November.
Yeah.
So this fight is kind of just, keeping me active, keeping me on my toes. Just keeping me active, keeping me on my toes, getting me ready. No, in no way does this mean I'm taking my eye off the ball.
Of course,
I'm still training hard, always, for anyone. This year is definitely a trap season. I think the Southern area is being negotiated for, and everything's just being summed up. But again, loads of different things are coming up. Loads of different things are getting thrown at me every day. Loads of different things are getting put out there. I can't say too much, but it's there's a lot of opportunities, and I'm just kind of weighing them all up, seeing where we can go right now. Best thing to do, and have this fight now, and hopefully get the shot in November, and then go from there really. So everything right now, everything right now is okay. The summer's been good. After that fight, kind of just took some time out. It was my birthday.
Yeah.
Took some time out, reflecting, kind of kept to myself a little bit, and just really enjoyed the summer. And I've been chilling really. I've been training every day like usual.
Yeah.
It's been training with no pressure. Not no purpose, just no pressure.
Yeah.
There's not a fight coming up. I'm just enjoying it and I'm learning. That's where I am. That's where I was. And so it's come to the point now where there's a fight come and they've said, oh yeah, this is the deal, this is the contract, this is the negotiation, this is that, this is your person. How do you feel about that? You know what? It's a fight I need because I need to get warmed up. I need to have something. I need to stay active. So
yeah,
I need to stay active. So I'm gonna take this fight and just kind of stay active, and then something bigger's coming. But right now, I needed something to, I need to stay active. I need to keep moving. You know what I mean? So I think this is a good time to take it sooner rather than later. I could have got some other dates in October, things like that, or just wait until November.
Yeah.
Then I thought, I'd rather just not. I'd rather just fight again, to be honest, because
that's what you do.
That's what I do. So why would I not?
Yeah, and I mean you just mentioned there about strap season. I mean, it's got to be the most talked about tag on social media nowadays, I think, because ever since Errol Spence started saying, labeling it as strap season when he beat Kell Brook. Everyone seems to be strap season. Everywhere you go particularly in boxing, it's all about straps nowadays. So that's what you're intending on doing this. This year starting off on the 15th, but it's solely strap season for you, Linus.
Yeah, well, I just feel like me and my team, me and the guys, I feel like that's where we are.
Yeah.
I feel like that's where we are in this game. I feel like that's where I just feel like that is where we are.
So do you feel it's a natural progression then for you?
I do. I feel like it's taken a long time. It's taken a long time, but it's slowly and steady is the best in my opinion. So
yeah.
Here now, so it's just not slipping up. We can't afford to slip up.
Yeah, of course. Before I go on to talk about obviously the 15th, your next fight, looking to move to 10-0, and then the future ambitions. Talk about in the summer, like having the chance to rewind and just look through the tapes possibly and look to improve on things. Did you manage to hit up Carnival by any chance? And how have you celebrated this chapter of your career this summer like so far, and what you looking to build on for the new season?
Carnival, I went Carnival this year. It was really good. It was really good vibes. I was really, really happy with Carnival. It was a lot better than last year because, say only, but one person got stabbed this year in the Carnival. When you're talking about millions of people going through the Carnival, in those 2 days, one person is a very good number.
Yeah.
What normally happens anyway, one person is a very good number, so it just shows that, police and everything. Everyone's doing their job, and it's just good positivity. You know,
Of course it is, yeah.
So, you know, I love going there because it's really good vibes, positive vibes, good food, and just positive. There is no, I've never personally seen or experienced any drama over there.
No.
And yeah, it was just really good. The summer's just been good. I just spending it with a lot of my friends, and just a lot of people that I never really get to spend time with when I'm all out training and all this. I've really been trying to spend it with a lot of people. It's my birthday, my 25th. In a massive chapter in my life now. I'm a big man now, really.
Of course, mate. Yeah.
So yeah, just kind of been again spending it with close people that mean a lot to me, and you know, it's just been really just enjoying it. You know, I spent a lot of years just going so hard and grafting away. And I realised like there's a lot of people that a lot of people are around and I just don't really have time for them.
Yeah, no, 100%.
You know what I mean? But then it's just now I'm just trying to enjoy it. I'm just trying to enjoy every single aspect of boxing, every single aspect of every single aspect of it. Just enjoying every single thing about it. Don't let anything stress me anymore. That's the mentality. That's where just take time out, kind of relax and not have any pressure. That's where that comes from.
Yeah. I mean, it's mad to think, like, 25, man. You don't look 25. I mean, wherever I see you, you're always fresh, always got positive vibes. I mean, like you said there, Carnival's like a celebration of different cultures, different creeds, and it's good to see that, you know, all walks of life can go there, you know, have a good time with their mates. I mean, you yourself, you know, doing what you've done for your, you know, community. I mean, you've made obviously your friends and family so proud to choose boxing as a career and to be so successful in such a short space of time. So, I mean, it's only testament to your hard work, your team's, you know, hard work. And like you said there, you know, excluding all that negativity, because at the end of the day, you've got no time for that. No one that has any sort of inkling to get as far as they want to be and is switched on don't want to, you know, associate themselves with negative people and people that are just going to waste their time and dust about. And that's what you want. You want to get to the stage where you can, you know, keep your circle small. I mean, you've got a superb, you know, setup there with your gym mates and, you know, your trainers, and it's only going to go from strength to strength. Yeah, that's 100%. Yeah, so as I said there, just obviously the 15th, you're not overlooking your opponent. Like you said there, it's a takeover fight. Your last two fights have been at middleweight, Linus. I've been looking, you know, around at sort of, you're put down on BoxRec as super welter, but you've had obviously your fights at middleweight. Is that what you're looking to campaign at, especially when you get into contention for major titles in the new year?
No, I'm not looking to contend at super welterweight. I'm not sure why. Yeah, I'm actually looking to just stay middleweight, to be honest. I've always never thought of going anywhere else.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm not sure why it's like there as super welterweight, but I'm definitely middleweight. I'm staying that way.
Yeah, I mean, I think it said like your first few fights were at super welter, and that's what they've obviously enrolled you as. But like you said, the middleweight's the weight you feel comfortable at, the weight you think that you can, you know, get to your real peak. And I mean, as time goes on, I know you said that you're 25. As your body gets, you know, more wiser, more mature, and you know you build and you get stronger. It's obviously going to settle you at that weight to be, you know, appropriate for the way your body's growing at, the rate it's going as well. So as long as that's how you feel comfortable at, I mean, yeah, that's what your team and obviously yourself will know best.
Yeah, 100%. It's just I mean, I've always fought middleweight. I started off in the amateurs at about 69, and then slowly grew. And then when they took away 71 kg category, which I used to fight at,
yeah,
I had to either go to 67 or 675.
Okay.
75. So you know, I've always been up there, and then slowly just come down to about 72. Something. I mean, that in the pros, that's where I'm comfortable at. That's where I can do and maintain. That's the weight I can actually fight and maintain. So
yeah,
I will not be contending at super welterweight. That's not where I want to go.
But yeah, as I was saying about you know, obviously with Steve Goodwin, you know, guiding your career at the moment, are you happy with the sort of getting the exposure of big shows like there? I said there, the Joe Joyce Bill back in June on Sport Bible, and then obviously on terrestrial TV on Dave. But are you happy and pleased that obviously with Steve doing so well for his fighters, getting them active regularly, is that what you want at this stage of your career, Linus, to be out as regular as possible?
Well, yeah, that's exactly the goal. You know what I mean? Just stay active until I'd stay active in general. So you know what I mean? Even if I grab the strap in you know what I mean, in November,
yeah.
I still want to be staying active anyway. I still want to defend it in probably about a month or two, and then I want to move on to something else. And you know what I mean? I just go on with my career like that, because you know we don't really have a lot of time in this game to be messing around too much. But at the same time, I don't want to rush into anything that I'm not ready for.
Of course.
So do you know what I mean? It's just all about timing. And Steve, I think he's done a great job. And, you know, my whole team, everyone's done a great job. It's just hopefully this train doesn't stop, really. And we just go from there, all up and up, really.
Yeah, and I mean, I've been following your social media page in preparation for your fight on the 15th. And I mean, throughout your career getting top-class sparring in, is there any particular sparring partners that you've been working with in this camp to get you prepared for this next phase of, strap season, as we like to call it?
You know, I've been working with the normal guys in the gym, you know, Sean Robinson,
yeah.
Paul Greenidge, Brad Pauls, Sam Gilly, William Webber.
How is Brad getting on actually at the moment? Is he because he's done quite well last few months. Is the vibes in the gym the same as always? You know, the positivity.
It's always we're all brothers, you know. It's all good. It's all good. It's always better.
Yeah.
And it's always good. It's always trying to push each other. Because you know, I mean, we're all around the same point of our career. We're all around the same age, so it's very competitive, you know. So you know, as competitive as that is, everyone wants to be on top, and you know, I mean, that's just it. So we're all just putting all our in. You know, what I mean, we're just putting our all in. So it's very competitive. We're all bringing each other up. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know, what I mean, we're all just putting in a lot of work really, and just going for it as you know, what I mean, as it comes. So yeah, my people I'm inspiring with, I've been, you know, Jake Ball.
Yeah.
James DeGale. I'm flying James DeGale next week actually.
Wow, that should be. I'd pay to watch that definitely.
Yeah, so you know that it's all good. You know, my learning, everything's just been my training always. My training's never been a bit of my career that's ever lacked. So you know, it's never ever lacked. My coach Terry Stewart has always provided. He's always done the best for me, and you know, he's always done the best at the right times as well. You know what I mean? He's been always just there. You know what I mean? He knows what he's doing, and you know, he's always got me ready. So, and there's one thing, you're always going to be ready. You're always going to be ready, Terry. So he's done very well. And you know, the guys in the gym, it's just all the same. It's really good. I mean, I can't be any happier to say I'm in a really good place. I'm at gym right now.
That's great to hear, mate. And I mean, a happy fighter's a dangerous fighter. And I mean, if the energy's reciprocating in the gym, you know, all the boys are bouncing off each other. That's what you want. You've seen, obviously, with Jamie Moore's stable, with the likes of Carl Frampton, Martin Murray, Tommy Cole, and to name a few, Rocky Fielding. They're all bouncing off each other. And it seems that, I mean, I know you guys are at different stages of your career. Obviously, them boys are campaigning at world level, and you're making your way towards that goal. But it's just the same principle within the gym. The positive energy is bouncing off all four walls, and it's good to see that, you know, you're all progressing and that everyone's fit and healthy after the fights and they're getting back straight into the gym on Monday.
Yeah, 100%. That's just how it is. No one really takes too much time out of the gym because they know what this game's like. They know someone can just, you know, all of a sudden be like, oh, by the way, there's a fight coming up in a week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean?
It's a short game.
Yeah, very short game. You know what I mean? You don't know what it is, and everyone thinks, oh, it's a week. You know what I mean? You're ready. I'm like, well, if you stayed ready, you know what I mean? If you kept training, if you didn't, you know what I mean? So a lot of people think I stopped. I don't know. A lot of people still think I stopped, but I don't. When I've had my fight, I take a week off. Yeah, chill out. When I say I take a week off, I take a week out, chill out, and just eat what I couldn't eat. And that's it. And then a week later, I'm back in the gym. It doesn't really do anything to me. I don't even fluctuate in weight.
Yeah.
I don't even fluctuate in weight, so it's not actually that bad.
I wish I could say the same. Too many beers over the summer, Linus.
Oh man, see, I don't even drink. So it's not that bad. It's easy for me to get back into things. But when you're taking a weekend just sport, you're still relatively not far off your peak. So
yeah, 100%.
So you know what I mean, you're not really far off your peak. So it's never that bad to actually get back in. So you know, I've maintained that for a couple of years now. So it's not even hard anymore. So yeah, so I'm in a good place now. I can just kind of, you know, if someone said to me like, oh, you just had a fight or whatever, like, you know, I've taken 2 fights actually, but I haven't had them. I've taken 2 fights where they've just rang me after a fight and gone, oh, can you fight 2 weeks later? Like, yeah, I can. Like, I'm ready. I can. I've got my waist down. I'm ready to go. I can fight if you want. And then it's not happened. But, you know, it's not... You know, I was ready for it. I can do it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I've always been ready for it. I've never ever been like, no, I'm not ready for a fight. I'm not ready for that fight. I've never ever been like that. I never will.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, 100%.
So that's just it.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, anyone that knows boxing, especially within the boxing fraternity, I mean, people like yourself that take fights on short notice and take fights, you know, off the cuff. I mean, it shows like where you're going to go because, I mean, you never know in boxing. I mean, people that know boxing know that if you come up against someone on the wrong day, if you're not prepared, like you said there, you're always in the gym, you're always focused on the objective. I know everyone has their joking around on social media, but that's just like part of the game. And I mean, like you being phoned up with a 2 weeks or 3 weeks or even a week's notice and being able to adapt to the challenge ahead, it shows that when you do get to that level and you do get that opponent that's going to stand there and, you know, have it with you in the pocket or, you know, box on range, then at least you've prepared for that because you've had that opportunity to box someone that's, you know, you've not really had much time to look into or that's just been brought in and that will give you a tough challenge like we saw in your last fight. So...
Yeah, 100%. You know what I mean? The key is to make everything. You know what I mean? I've met some people that say they only train when they've got a fight booked in, and I think to myself, well, when are you learning then? You know, like I don't. You know what I mean? Just because I don't have a fight booked in, it doesn't mean that I can't train. I need to be learning. You can never stop learning.
Yeah.
You never stop learning. So I don't. But you know, that's just me. That's just my mentality on it. That's how I feel about it. So I'll never ever drop out on that and just be like, oh, when the fight's booked in, I'll get back into the gym. And I'm like, no, I can't. That doesn't work.
No, because that's when you get complacent and yeah.
Yeah, you give yourself a mountain to climb. I understand it's very hard to, you know, some people fall out of love with it. Some people, I understand. Not everyone in the same situation, but that is just the mindset I have right now.
Well, that's the mindset you want to have because, I mean, when you do, like you said there, if you were to just, you know, fall off the gas or, you know, get complacent and then say, you know, you've got to climb a bigger mountain, you'd rather be 3/4 the way up and be sort of, you know, hacked into the mountain itself and then be able to say, you know, when I get the phone call to then take it to the next level, to be able to adjust a few things and polish off a few areas where you feel a bit less confident in. And then as you do sort of step up 15 fights, 20 fights, 25 fights, and then you do start challenging for major titles, then you're prepped to the fullest.
Yeah, 100%. You know what I mean? If you've got it all in the tank, there's no need to bring it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you've got it all there, there's no need to, like, go get it.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you've got it all there,
yeah.
I mean, if you've got it all there, like we train, that's what we train for. Just, you know what I mean? We're training for like 12 rounds at a time, and they're like, you know, well, you've got 6-round fights. And you're like, well, you know, what happens when you've got a 12-round fight and then you start training for a 12-round fight? Do you know what I mean? Like, how can that work?
Yeah.
You need to have it all in the tank. This isn't that type of game. So you see it all the time. Let me put no analogy on it. Like football, yeah? You see, like, Athletic Madrid when they play Real Madrid. I don't know, not everyone's a football fan here, but Athletic Madrid when they play Real Madrid. Athletic Madrid's players like peaked out at like 90 minutes because that's what they train for. They don't train for the finals and, you know what I mean, 120 minutes. They don't train for the extra time. They don't train for all that. Obviously, this is not a, you know what I mean? This is not a fact on paper. This is just an educated guess.
Yeah.
But, you know what I mean? That's why they're peaking out. Real Madrid players are not. Real Madrid players are not. They're fitter because that's what they're training for.
Yeah, 100%. And like
you know what I mean?
yeah, and I mean, like you said, they're having the availability and the way things have progressed nowadays with all this, nutrition and, sports science, physio, and even like the little elements that, boxers don't really, or boxing people that watch boxing and look out for their favourite fighters, they don't look at that sort of in depth like us hardcore boxing fans do and understand. So, I mean, even like 5% out of your peak can, determine a fight won or lost, really.
100%, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, away from all just away from the domestic scene, we've got quite a few fights coming up in the middleweight division at the moment. But I will just touch on a few fights on the British level scene. We've got obviously Tommy Langford rematching Jason Wellborn for the British title in their Fight of the Year rematch on the Amir Khan undercard this weekend. Who do you see winning that fight, Linus?
I say Langford, to be honest.
Okay.
I say Langford.
Yeah.
So obviously, that's my weight, so I'm going to keep an eye on it, really.
Yeah.
And, but, I say Langford, it'll be a good fight. So I'm just going to keep an eye on it and see what's there, really, because, I just want to, because it's my weight, so it's in my best interest, too. You know what I mean? You learn.
Of course.
Like I said, you learn every day, so, that's how I look at it anyway. I'm looking forward to that build, to be honest. I'm looking forward to. There's a lot of boxing happening this year before the year ends, actually.
Oh no, it's crazy few months.
Yeah, I watched the Carl Frampton fight and Tyson Fury. Both really good. Look really good, to be fair.
Yeah.
Fury Wilder, that's going to be really good. That's going to be really good. My money's on Fury for that one, but boxing's boxing, so you never know.
Never know.
What else? Frampton looked incredible.
Yeah, he was. I mean, it's a different side to Frampton that we see. He seems to be punching a lot harder under Jamie Moore, and he seems to be a lot more compact.
Yeah, he's a lot more aggressive as well. Before he was just very. You'd have to throw at him to get him to throw at you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, quite lethargical in a way.
Yeah, to an extent. Yeah, to an extent. Yeah, I agree with that. So he looked really good against Lucas Jackson, which I thought Lucas Jackson. A lot of people don't know who he is.
Yeah.
A lot of people have no idea where he's come from, the background and everything. I got him on my Instagram and I followed him about a year ago.
Yeah.
And I've been watching a lot of his stuff. And how he fought in that fight, for whatever reason, I'm not knocking him here, for whatever reason, it didn't do him justice. Because he's a lot better. He is so much better than what he showed.
Yeah.
He's so much better than that.
Do you think it was the stage that he was on, obviously being...
Yeah, I think he's never been on that. Don't get me wrong, he won, he had a world title, didn't he?
Yeah, and he's obviously been to the Commonwealths as well.
Yeah. So I think it was the stage. It was just all a bit much.
Yeah.
It was just all a bit much. I think it was a stage that caught him a little bit. He fought within his shell. He never really came out. And when Frampton kind of smelled blood, he went for it. When Jackson kind of showed a bit of a chink, because I thought, he was all right. He's doing well. Like, he's not getting too much. He's not getting hurt too much, but he can't sustain this.
Yeah.
But, I think he'll do fine. And then I called it. In the, what round did he get stopped in? The 7th, was it?
7th, yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. I called that at the 3rd round. I said, I reckon this fight gets stopped in the 7th. And my mate was like, you serious? And I goes, yeah. And I should have put money on it because I didn't.
Yeah.
But, and I never did in the end. And I thought Frampton looked incredible. I think Jackson the stage got to him a little bit, and he just didn't really know what to do. I think he just thought, you know what, let me just get through the fight, and that's it.
Yeah.
But again, no disrespect to him because it takes balls to step up. You know what I mean? So fair play.
100%. I mean, you never know really if you didn't step up. I mean, someone that's relatively unknown coming across the shores to fight such a signature name like Frampton, who's been with the likes of Leo Santa Cruz, Quigg, all those top level fighters at featherweight. I mean, do you I know you said there you were massively impressed with Frampton, but with Warrington sitting ringside, I mean, personally, I'll favour Frampton to beat Warrington. But do you see any, if you were say on Warrington's team or Warrington himself, would you see any weaknesses from Frampton that you'd possibly exploit when them two fight?
See, I don't think so. I don't think there isn't, because you have to see how Warrington fights. He's like he fights a little bit like Santa Cruz. Santa Cruz is, his Mexican style is his Mexican style.
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean? That's just who he is. I don't think there is no getting in the way of that style. To be honest. Yeah, you know what I mean? There's no... Sorry, I want to say getting in the way. There's no stopping. There's no... Like, you can't do that style like Santa Cruz does.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to get around his jab and stuff.
Warrington isn't Santa Cruz. Yeah, this is... You know what I mean? He's not Santa Cruz. I don't think he can do it as effectively as Santa Cruz does. And I think that's the only thing that gives Frampton problems.
Yeah.
And, I don't see a way that Warrington can beat Frampton, but Warrington beat Selby. Selby, you could say, he's been fucked about a lot in his career where he hasn't had the fights, he's been inactive and things like that. Yes, I will say that played a part, but I think a hint of, like, they underestimated Frampton a little bit. I mean, they underestimated Warrington a little bit. I think they underestimated Warrington a little bit.
I have to agree with that because, I mean, Selby in a way was, well, you can make numerous sort of excuses or hints at why he didn't win the fight. I mean, possibly being weight drained and he looks more comfortable up at super feather. But with that clash coming up in November between Frampton and Warrington, I mean, you just touched on there, like you said, Warrington's quite an aggressive fighter himself that comes forward, throws a lot of shots. But personally, like, I believe Frampton has the much better defence. I think he does all the fundamentals a lot better than what Warrington has proved and what he's shown. Even though he is very aggressive and he can stand and have a slug out with anyone, and probably he's confident in his own chin for his own good as well.
Yeah, 100%. Well, he's fought Santa Cruz.
Kiko Martinez.
He fought Martinez. He's fought Scott Quigg. Do you know what I mean? He's fought a lot of top class fighters. I just don't see how Warrington can be successful in this fight.
Because of experience.
Yeah. I don't see how Warrington can be successful. I think Frampton's just on a different level.
Yeah.
He's better in almost every aspect, except for maybe ticket selling. I'm not sure, but he's almost better in every aspect. He does everything better.
Yeah.
He just does everything. He's got everything in his arsenal is better than Warrington's. That's just truth. That's just the truth. That he's just better. That's what I think he is, but and he's active as well. He's been active. He's done bits. He's been very active. It's a really good fight, and I'm glad to see fights like that happening because normally these people have fought each other for ages. So I'm pretty happy that that's happening.
I mean, I still recollect from the fight between Frampton and Santa Cruz for the first time, and I mean, I can still watch that performance. I mean, it was such a well calculated, 12 rounds from Frampton. But I suppose in the rematch, you could argue then that was the McGuigan, was his time under McGuigan maybe coming to a close. And I mean, under Jamie Moore, he's punching a lot harder and he seems to be much happier in himself, more relaxed. Possibly against Santa Cruz the second time round, he was trying to load up on a lot more than what he did the first fight, and that possibly could have played his downfall against a tall, rangy operator like Santa Cruz. But I mean, we just have to wait and see what happens in the Warrington fight. I mean, you can't really call it boxing, really. 50-50 fights like that, it's very hard to make a judgment of who's going to actually come out on top because anything can happen.
Yeah, it's boxing. You don't know what people are like on the night. You just don't know. As much as you really would like to say, do you know what I mean? Oh yeah, this would definitely, but you don't know. That's the beauty of boxing. You just don't know what could happen. Who knew Tyson Fury was going to beat Klitschko?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who knew that was going to happen in his backyard? Who knew that was going to happen? There's a lot of fights like that.
Bellew Hay was another example.
Oh, Jesus. I thought I didn't give Bellew a shot in that fight.
I was probably part of the 1% minority that actually, first of all, thought Bellew was going to win without even putting a bet on, but to actually then to bet on him to stop Hay. So, I mean, it's like you said there, you can't really, it's tough calls when, someone's like Bellew who's, improved fight by fight, and he seems to be, getting better as he goes on. I mean, whether he has one fight left, that be Usyk, or, he goes on and has 2 or 3 more fights, you never can underestimate someone like that now after, dethroning someone of such a high caliber.
Yeah, no, this is what it is. It is what it is. You can't write people off. You can't underestimate anyone. So, it's a game we're in, and that's what makes it fun.
Yeah. And I mean, talking about people being messed about in boxing, but particularly in your weight division, what do you make of the whole Martin Murray situation with Billy Joe Saunders having turned down the fight twice? for whatever reasons. Do you kind of feel sorry for Murray in a way to have his last pop at a world title?
Yeah, it's a bit unfair because no repercussions were done. It just, it's a bit of a shitty thing. Part of my language. It's a bit of a shitty thing on Billy Joe's side. I genuinely believe he was waiting for a bigger shot. At Golovkin or whatever. Which is understandable, but at the end, at the back of that, you mess someone over. That was, that's his last shot at a world title. I don't think Martin Murray he should be contending for world titles anymore. I think he's kind of a gatekeeper, kind of a gatekeeper now. I don't think he can contend anymore. I think he's just too old. I personally think he's just too old. He's not the same anymore. He's starting to lose a lot of key things. They've got a lot of key factors that make him like a competitive, quite a hard fighter.
Yeah.
But is what it is. That's just age. That's just what it is. But I think it was unfair because obviously he's waiting around and now he's got to wait another X amount of time to even get this shot again. So I understand the frustration on Murray's side there.
Yeah, and he probably won't get not being disrespectful, but he probably won't now get his opportunity because with Saunders obviously defending his belt in October against Andrade, you've got Jacobs fight Deveryachenko for the IBF title, got the rematch coming up with GGG and Canelo, and we'll come to that with our predictions. But like you said there, so in a way it's unfair. You can understand why Saunders was waiting for the bigger shot because in his own respect, he's not being as active as he'd like to be, and he's not really had that break where he can chase the likes of Canelo and Golovkin. So I mean, but to say then you're like a man of your word and that you were going to give Martin Murray his shot, never know, it could materialise after the Andrade fight if they can't make a deal with Jacobs and Matchroom. But it's all sort of gone under the radar a bit that Murray's not been given any sort of compensation for being dropped twice. But I mean that's boxing for you.
Yeah, it's boxing. That's just what it is. That is just what it is.
Yeah. And just before I go and let you get some sleep, Linus, just give us a prediction. I won't go into too much detail about the three fights I just mentioned there, but for all three, Saunders, Andrade, Canelo, Golovkin, and Jacobs, Deveryachenko, and possibly including Charlo in that mix, who do you see coming out on top of all three of those fights, and who do you see leading the the way for the middleweight division once they've all been sort of concluded?
So what was that? Canelo, Golovkin?
Yeah, so let's start with Canelo, Golovkin.
I say Triple G wins it again, but he's on his way down. If this was the best time, if there was any time for Canelo to beat Golovkin, it'll be now.
Yeah.
I want Golovkin to win because I don't think Canelo should even be in the ring after what he got caught doing.
Yeah, me neither.
Twice. I don't think he should be in the ring, but again, that's the game we're in.
Yeah.
Golovkin to win that. The next one is who?
Jacobs, Deveryachenko for the IBF title.
Yeah, Jacobs wins that relatively. I wouldn't say comfortably, but he wins it.
Yeah. And then Saunders, Andrade, the big one in October. I mean, two of the most probably colourful middleweights you'll get in any era, but yeah, that's I think out of the three, me personally, that's the one I'm really looking forward to. But yeah, are you kind of hoping that Saunders comes through that to fight possibly GGG if he also comes through?
Yeah, I like Saunders. I think he deserves. A big time. I don't know. I think his career's gone a lot slower than it should have, and I think he does deserve, the big shot. Despite him as a person or whatever, however people feel about it. Hard work shows, and he's a very talented fighter, and he's British, so he should really have the country support behind him.
Yeah, right, that's brilliant. But just before I go and get you to give a message to your fans and what they can expect on September 15th, just going to give you a few quick fire questions, Linus, that I've just wanted to ask a few people about what their perspective is. But if you could fight in any city across the country or possibly across, being realistic as well, but in the UK this year, where would you like to fight the most? Because I mean, the way British boxing is booming at the moment, obviously got Newcastle, leading a massive wave with Josh Kelly and Lewis Ritson, and then I mean, obviously, Birmingham as well having their fair amount of shows.
I'd like to fight in Luton Town, to be honest.
That's what I was hoping to hear.
Yeah, it's my town. It's my town, so it's my town. So I'd love to fight here. I'd love to fight here, start my own kind of wave. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a few top boys around Luton as well. See, Jordan's doing his part. You're obviously leading the wave in the professional ranks. He's coming through the GB setup. So you never know in the future. Hopefully, a few years see you two really leading a massive surge for Luton boxing, and it would be a very proud moment, I'm sure, for the town.
Yeah, well, we're both on our own different paths, and as long as we're promoting something and going ahead with it, just doing the thing and flying the flag correctly, I'm happy. I'm just happy that the town gets behind, all the boxers in the town. So I'm just really happy to be part of something like this.
Yeah, and I mean, you've got your own merch coming out as well. See, you're making big moves as well with the clothing branding and publicising. So when can we see your merch be released? I know you were sending out a few posts about pre-sale, but when can we see a full release of the Linus Udofia merch?
Just getting a few things together in a minute. I just saw it on our website. It was there, but something went wrong, and it's just all over the place in a minute.
Yeah.
I'm just doing a few bits here. It's just right now it's people that they want something and they'll just say, oh, can I have this? And I'll just get it ordered up, give it to them. There'll be a full release at some point end of this year, some point coming up in the next couple of months. I couldn't tell you. It could be any time from next month to December.
Yeah. Well, hopefully
right now I'm just trying to focus on getting the fights in right now, and that's all just secondary.
Yeah, well, I'll definitely be looking to purchase a few bits off you and help out as much as I can. But obviously, giving you the platform as well, it's great to have you on the channel again, Linus, mate. You're an absolute pleasure to talk to, and I do genuinely wish you the best for the rest of the season and the rest of training camp ahead of September 15th. Good luck in all your sparring, and as long as you come out safe and healthy. That's the paramount thing that we like to hear. So, like I said there, just wish you all the best, mate, and keep in touch. And I'll see you, I'm sure, in a few weeks' time.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate your call and your time.
Nice one. Do you want to quickly shout out your social media, just for those that who are new to the channel and that want to keep in touch with your career to date?
Yeah, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Linus_Udofia. Just get at me on there. You find out all the fight news you need, all the information, anything you need. Just get at me on all my social medias and give me a follow. I look forward to either seeing you at the fights or just seeing your social media.
Yeah, there we have it. Thomas Lyons, Raps on TV, Linus Udofia. Been an absolute pleasure, champ, and enjoy the next few weeks, and hopefully move to 10-0 unscathed, and look forward to some massive fights down the line for yourself.
Thank you very much.
Nice one, mate. You too, mate. Take care. Have a nice rest.
Take it easy, mate.
See ya. Bye. Bye.